to order at 5:35 with 6 of the 10 commissioners present. And
Oh yeah, Camila's there. I think that Karen's going to be coming on in a minute.
okay, I don't think we'll go too far. I hope Karen joins because I think she may be the only one.
Right.
So the first item on our agenda is our agenda, which currently has public forum, and then the references and the Talitha Consultants work plan. I have not heard back from Joy from the city attorney's office on that item. I don't know if Joy will be joining us today to give an update on that item. So I just do not know what is going on with the contract. Anyway, I think we should still leave it for committee action. So would love a motion on the agenda.
Move to approve.
Move to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Gamache. And any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. The second item on our agenda is the public forum. We currently have 5 people as attendees. If I know that Zoe signed up with Shannon to speak. So Zoe, I will allow you to speak first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Zoe. I live in Ward 4. I'm white and I use they, them pronouns. I just got home from work, so my comments are not going to be as prepped as they normally are, but I'm here to speak out against the proposal of Chief Murad and the recommendation of the Police Commission to increase the number of officers on the Burlington Police Department. That just goes against the racial justice resolution that was passed earlier last year. And I think that the problem isn't with the resolution, it's that there haven't been any concrete actions taken to find avenues and alternatives to policing, which is what's really important. Like Angela Davis said, abolition isn't destructive, it's creative. So we can't, I think we definitely need, the reduction in officers was necessary and important. And the problem isn't with that, it's that there haven't been any efforts to create something to take the place of policing to better enrich and help the community in ways that are going to be more important, more helpful than the police have ever really been. And I think that trying to go back to the police just betrays the nature of the resolution. It shows a fundamental lack of creativity and commitment to racial justice in the community. And so as a public comment on to the Joint Commission looking for alternatives to policing, I say that I do not support this, and I think that it is not a good idea. We need something other than enhanced police power in Burlington. We need to look for something other than police. We need to move beyond police. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. That is the only person that signed up to speak. If anyone else would like to speak, please just raise your hand. Seeing no one, I will close public forum. Folks can still feel free to raise their hand or interact through the Q&A. Just want to remind folks to be respectful and direct it to the chair. So with that, turning to item 3, starting with committee actions. Do we have Karen on yet? Yes, we do.
I'm here.
Great. Are you ready to give a report on that, Karen?
Yeah, I have to be transparent. I had a full schedule this week and I neglected to write this meeting down. So I'm very sorry for being late and unprepared, but I did hear back from all three references. We had quite a bit of a discussion about the consultancy that the Joint Committee had selected, and I feel confident and comfortable with moving forward with the contract.
Great. Do any commissioners have any questions for Commissioner Durfee?
This is Stephanie. Could I ask a question?
Yeah, so Stephanie and then Shireen.
Commissioner Durfee, you explored the issue of call volume experience and analysis.
I did.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to have everyone get back to me, and there was a concern. The first reference, the only person that had gotten back to me in our last meeting, did not have that experience. But the Philadelphia, the folks in Philadelphia and Albany, both were able to speak on that item.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Karen, can you remind me, were any of the references related to the work that has been done for the city previously?
No, you know, I'm going to ask a clarifying question on that. Were any of the references related to the work that was done previously? Was there
Right.
someone that had been involved with the Burlington Police Department?
Am I misrecollecting that this was we picked the proposal that this entity had done work for the city of Burlington in a completely different capacity?
Right. And oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering if any of our references spoke to the previous work for the city.
No, they did not. These were completely different. They had different work done, and they were speaking specifically to their own police departments. One was the Philadelphia Police Department, the other was Albany. And I did have one additional call with the consultancy to clarify, as we talked about last week, just to try and get things moving. And that's when I received the calls back, but I did not specifically speak to that person that's in the consultancy, nor did anybody reference that work.
Okay, thanks.
Great. Any other commissioners? Great. Then I guess I have one question, which is, do folks want, before we move forward with them, to do any, I guess, following up on Shireen's question, if we wanted to seek out if anybody is still with the city that is relevant to that, and do that before it gets to the council? Not necessarily to hold action here, but that is a possibility if that's something you wanted to do, Shireen.
To be honest, I'm perfectly comfortable proceeding on Commissioner Durfee's work. I trust her experience doing this and her work on this. So if her recommendation after speaking with the references is that we proceed, that's good. I just would have wanted to know more if there had been a discussion with anyone with our city, but I'm ready to support moving forward.
Great. And just want to make sure. Okay, great. Then would welcome a motion on this, or I honestly don't remember the past motion that we had on this, but I think it was to move forward pending any reference recommendations. So I think the next motion would be, if we wanted to make one, would be just to ask the city attorney's office to get this on the schedule for the city council. Go ahead, Randall.
I move that we ask the city attorney to move ahead with this, to put it on city council, put it in front of city council.
Great. Motion made by Commissioner Hart. Any second? Seconded by Commissioner Hart. Any discussion?
I do have a question. Last time we did this with the first RFP, did we have to specify who would be entering into, did we have to take any additional steps at this point on the motion giving authority to someone?
Yeah, I think one of the city departments has to sign off on this. I guess Skylar or Kyle, if either of you knows if you want that to happen in your department. Or Taisha is also on.
I'm sorry, I just feel like I'm getting caught up here, so I'm not exactly sure where everything should be heading and living, so I'm just trying to catch my bearings.
Yeah, of course. Let me promote Taisha. So yeah, there's 2 contracts outstanding. One of them, your office is the kind of, I guess, holding office of the contract. And now we have a second one, which is different. It's the Burlington Police Department assessment. And so
I think that the Burlington Police Department assessment is going to live in our department, Taisha, is that correct? Yeah.
okay. Great. So are you okay with that being a friendly amendment, Commissioner Harp, to have that give Director Green the authority to, thanks. And Commissioner Hart, is that you the second? Great. Great. Any other discussion? All those.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just want to mention, you just mentioned it, but I just want to mention again, because I just got a message. This is for the RFP for the assessment of the Burlington Police Department. Somebody chatted me, so that's the RFP we're discussing.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. With that, we'll move to item 3.02, which is the Talitha Consultancy Work Planning. Neither Talitha nor Joy is here. I assume we have not completed a contract. And I guess with that, I just want to throw it back to the commission, as we had 2 pretty high contenders. I'm certainly frustrated by the fact that we still don't have a contract. I don't know if other folks are feeling the same way, but wondering if there's a plan B that we want to make in terms of going back to one of the other, or I assume the second highest ranking consultancy in terms of completing this work. Go ahead, Commissioner Hart.
I would love a better understanding from the city attorney as to what the holdup might. I think it has to do with insurance, but we definitely, there were 2, if I recall our discussion, there were 2. It would be great to go with our first choice, but right, I mean, this is a time-sensitive issue, so perhaps we can follow up with the city attorney early next week to get an understanding of how it shouldn't take this long when, we've been told what the issue is. It just didn't seem like something that would be taking this long. So, and I'm not pinning the blame on either the city or the consultant. I have no idea what's going on, but it would be great if we could just get that understanding before we decide to go with Plan B.
That makes sense to me. Commissioner Harp.
And I just likewise, it would be helpful to know whether there's any expectation that the contract will be completed, or if there's any understanding about how standard or how anticipated the delays were. I would prefer to have that information about that before trying to go to a Plan B, but not having been able to hear anything yet about what people think is the reason for the delays, or how long the delays might be expected to continue, or whether delays were anticipated. It's hard to speculate.
Yeah, and I can give as much of an overview as I know, which is it seemed to be that there was an insurance requirement to be insured with a Vermont insurer, I think is the exact requirement, which the consultancy felt wasn't applicable since the work that they will be doing will be remote, and they didn't it was just a standard clause, I think, in our contracting that they felt wasn't applicable to them. And then there was some discussion back and forth with the city's insurer in terms of what additional, if any, like smaller purchase of insurance would need to be made. And it felt like they were wrapping up the discussion like a week and a half ago, I think. And so it seems to keep being that we're almost wrapped up, but then it's not. And it is like, there is also a lag time between me asking and getting answers back. So I don't know, like, I don't always know in terms of like, it's like, we should have it done by tomorrow. And then I'll write back 2 days later. And then 2 days later, I'll get a response. So I'm not 100% sure where the like holdup is and on whose side it is.
When is our next scheduled meeting?
We do not have another meeting on the schedule as far as I know.
Okay.
And I don't think we've gotten an update since our last meeting, correct? I haven't seen an update come through on where this is. Zariah, have you?
I have not.
Yeah. It's not for your lack of trying, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I'm happy to ask that we revisit the question at our next meeting if we haven't heard any more positive information, at least to revisit the question. If not, I mean, I'm not suggesting we go with our second choice in the next meeting, but that we open up the discussion if we haven't heard any more positive news by then.
Okay. I guess I don't necessarily want to schedule another meeting that's a little bit like a non-meeting. I feel like that's what our last 2 meetings have been to some extent. I don't mind doing it. I guess I'm just wary of your time if folks are okay with that. But I'm afraid of scheduling the next meeting too far out and then not having that option, especially, we've got 2 city council meetings in a row coming up, which is, a little bit helpful in terms of if we wanted to pivot, we could. And I guess without Joy here, I'm like hesitant to go much further, but I guess if, Joy gets back to Shireen and I and says, because Shireen's just copied on the emails with the city attorney's office as well as the consultancy. And it doesn't feel like, I guess if it looks like gridlock, then I guess I would want to put us on a course sooner rather than later is my only, and if we need to call a meeting to do that, then that's fine. And if folks feel comfortable that if there is a gridlock, just saying Shireen, like authorizing Joy to, at least authorizing us to like move forward with trying to get the second consultancy, that would be my preference, but I'm happy to find whatever workaround makes sense. Go ahead, Randall.
Yeah, so I'm happy to defer to people who have more insight into the process. If it seems as though things are bogging down, to say things are bogging down, we need to go ahead and move on. I also think that we should have some positive momentum on this within, I would say, 2 weeks. So I'm happy to say, like, if we haven't heard anything within a week and a half, we should I think certainly start to evaluate other options, and whether that's calling a meeting or whether that's just empowering you guys to start getting the ball in motion on the second choice, and happy to do either one of those. I mean, my preference is to not have a meeting, to just let you empower you to move ahead on that second choice. But certainly, I think within 2 weeks we should, we should have some movement on this.
Great. So yeah, my timeline is, this contract I was really hoping would be started in December, and now it's January 15th. So I guess in terms of timeline, I know that I think changing who the recipient is would have to go through city council again. So we have a city council meeting, our next city council meeting. Well, our next one is next Tuesday, but we won't get it on the agenda for that. But I think we could get it on the one for the 25th, as long as we put it on the agenda by next Tuesday. So I guess I would love the authority for Shireen and I to get together with the city attorney's office on that Tuesday. And then if it doesn't feel like we're moving forward, that we try to get it on the city council agenda to authorize the other contract. I think we also have to reach back out to the consultancy, because they may have had some, at least this is normal in contracts, is to say this offer will expire in X number of days. I don't remember offhand if they had that, but.
I think Stephanie's going to say something.
Oh, sorry, Randall and then Shireen.
Thanks, no, and I heard Stephanie was chiming in, but I was just going to say, I mean, if you'd like a motion to authorize you to do that, I'm happy to make a motion, but I mean, I'm not sure whether it's necessary. If it's necessary, I'm happy to make a motion. Otherwise, I think you have the authority to do that as the chair of the committee.
Okay, and then was that Shireen that wanted to say something, or Stephanie? I couldn't.
Does it make sense to actually put it on the agenda? If it's not needed at the city council meeting, you could make a motion to take it off the agenda.
Sorry, are you saying go ahead and move to try to get the city attorney to put it on the city council agenda and then, yeah. But yeah, I think that would be my preference.
So then do you need a motion for that?
Go ahead, Shireen.
I'm just going to offer to follow up with Joy, Eileen, and the consultant. I know we've got a holiday weekend, but I'm happy to send an email today saying this is urgent for Tuesday morning, right? Okay, I'll do that after we are done today.
Thank you. Go ahead, Randall.
And can I just move that we ask to put this on the agenda for the city council meeting on the 25th and empower you to remove it from the city council agenda if necessary? I mean, if it's not necessary.
Moved by Commissioner Hart.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Gamache. Any discussion?
Yeah, sorry. So are we saying that this is as to the number two? Are we proposing that the consultant that was second to Talitha we would be proposing to get approval for them at that meeting on the 25th? Okay, so we'll just have to re-familiarize ourselves with who that second one was. And okay.
Yeah. Great. And we'll have a meeting on Tuesday morning to confirm that. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. And that is it in terms of committee actions. Moving forward to other business. I know that Shireen, you had a conversation in terms of equitable sharing, so I think we can put that on our next agenda. And then I guess from my side, a little bit of an update on the charter change discussion or police oversight discussion. I think it seems like right now Perry Freeman and Mayor Murrow Weinberger are having conversations on what potential next steps could look like in terms of process. I think I guess I will defer to what you all want to do with that. I know that we had some to have it be part of this commission. I'm happy to have that, and what we also had some concerns in terms of what's on our plate and getting it all done. I know that this is something that the three of them, along with Eileen, are working on. I think if you all wanted to have it here in the commission for us to talk through, if you wanted to have it just in the police commission for you all to talk through it there, I think it's worth putting on a agenda. I don't know if this will be the body that reviews it. Although if that is what if you all want to do it, I think we can. But it sounds like there is another process that is being created that doesn't have the base here in the joint committee, at least. So that's kind of all I know about that. But happy to do what the committee's pleasure is. Go ahead, Randall.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say, I think this committee was formed through the actions of city council. And so kind of what this committee exists to do, I think, is subject to the interests of city council, the people that formed the committee in the first place. So whether that discussion has a proper home in this committee or not, I think is more up to city council than it's up to this particular joint committee. Obviously, I think having some insight into, having some input into what public safety apparatus looks like is something that the police commission has an interest in doing it in some capacity, but I don't think it needs to necessarily happen in this joint committee.
Other thoughts? Great, then we'll leave that for now. We'll definitely have equitable sharing on our next agenda, and hopefully as well the work. I mean, I'm still hoping, I guess, that'll be a work session with Talitha, just in terms of interest of time. Are there any other agenda items folks would like to see on the agenda? Then my next question would be when we would like to meet again. And usually I prefer to schedule these in person just because I think it's a little bit easier to coordinate. I guess in this case, I would want to know if we're trying to get another consultant on board or if we're continuing on with Talitha Consultants, because I don't want us to have, I want us to have a productive next meeting. So are folks okay with leaving it open-ended right now, or would we prefer to schedule something and like to schedule 2 meetings in the hope that one of them will happen? What would you? Go ahead, Stephanie.
I would just say, let's wait and hear what happens with on Tuesday and then schedule it.
Great, I appreciate that. Okay. Well, thank you for those decisions. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to acknowledge is just that Shannon will be leaving us as clerk. She sent a email to the whole commission, just noting that, this ended up being more work and longer than she had expected. And just because of her duties as a mother, she's wary of spending all these evenings not fulfilling those responsibilities. So we're going to try to find a different clerk option, and or I think if Audrey and I have to fill the gap in the interim, I think we can do that as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to Shannon. I think she's going to watch this back for the minutes. And yeah, let you all, I guess, articulate that.
Thanks, Soraya.
Great. With that, I'd welcome a motion to adjourn. Moved by Commissioner Hart, seconded by
Durfee.
Commissioner Gamache. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you all so much, and we'll be in touch about